Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to the Ant-Man channel. It is Mayo. Or if you're... Sorry. Take two. Take two. Sorry. Like I was saying, welcome. It is the 11th of Mayo, or if you are from America and you speak English, May 2014. I'm your host, Ant-Man, and to all you lovely mothers out there, happy Mother's Day. I hope you guys I hope the men in your family and in your life are making you feel very special today, because we all appreciate you and are grateful for all the women in our lives that have given birth. So, amen to that. But anyways, I have an article in front of me here from Clash Daily, and I've had it here since like 2 days, so I thought I'd just read it to you. Scientists ain't God. Ain't that a shocker? Getting Neanderthal and a whole lot else wrong. This is by Steve Powell's. You see, the scientist becomes God when you don't want to deal with the conscience. I realized that when you're a little kid and you want to do something and you ask your mom and dad, like you made plans ahead of time and you want to go to your friend's house and spend the night or do something, and you ask your mom and dad and they say, no, you can't. You get frustrated. You say, because you never saw your plans realized. What happens to men when that... You see, we experience this type of frustration when we're little kids. When we start to grow up, quote unquote, we think that... Well, it's not that we think that. We get into a bad habit of not wanting to get frustrated. See, we will do anything it takes to see our plans realized. And that's the ambition that comes from within every human being that can create darkness. Well, we are darkness. It creates bad things, because sometimes when you tell people about what's going on these days, they say, why? Why would anyone want to do this? That sounds ridiculous. And it's just like, no, dude, you need to understand something about your heart. The Bible's very clear about your conscience and your heart. And if you make a habit of ignoring your conscience, then you've been practicing what I just pretty much described, because it's good to check ambition with ambition, because ambition can drive you to hurt people, because you want to see your dreams realized. And when you become a Christian, you serve. You become a minister for the Lord to other people, because other people are in need very badly these days. The days are evil, you guys, so we need to redeem the days. We need to go out there and tell people about God, even though if they don't want to hear it, because it's better than communism. It's better than being a slave, right? So, can we now add Neanderthals to the victim class catalog? Well, you guys have heard me talk about this before. Just another one of those things that academics get wrong these days is that they will call you a Neanderthal as a way to demean you or talk down to you as like a... It's like talking down to you. It's like calling you something bad. But in reality, Neanderthals were super smart. So where do they get this from? Turns out anthropology may have done a serious disservice to pop culture's favorite band of alleged primitives. That caricatured image of beetle-browed semi-simian brutes rocking chainsaw-sized clubs and dragging their women by the hair. Not really the whole picture. Not if new findings from England's University of York are to be credited. A group of researchers studying Neanderthal burial practices have concluded the hominids were, in fact, unexpectedly sensitive. They cared for their sick and injured and were fine parents. Similar, in fact, to modern human hunter-gatherers. Wow. So the Neanderthals smarter than most people that live in our day then, because we were actually reading about the story of the Good Samaritan today at church, and it's funny because you see a lot of that with the Jewish people in that story is what you see a lot of nowadays. And that is that you will see somebody on the ground beat up and stripped of everything that he had, and nobody will stop and ask that guy if he's alright. Nobody will help anybody these days. I think that in a poll that I read the other day, it says that this is the most that there has been unrendered help. Like nobody stops to help anybody anymore. Where our lives are so fast paced and we're so busy with everything that we do that we are losing touch with our humanity. And these Neanderthals that we make fun of so much seem to have more humanity in them than we do now. The implications of the York analysis, are explosive in ways parts of the science community likely would prefer we overlook. Here we have ideas which for generations were staples of paleontological orthodoxy, the received wisdom domineeringly shaping our concepts of ancient history and human development, and suddenly they're being frontally challenged, perhaps or upended altogether. Everyone's number one caveman might not have been quite the loutish lug we've long been assured, yet that concession is drawing comparatively scant notice, I guess. Just one more area the experts apparently have gotten it wrong for some time. You know, the kinds of lab-coated deep thinkers we were told with increasing frequency we ought to trust unquestioningly those who possess the key to unlocking all the answers to the conundrums of existence. Well, one thing that I see a lot with the common yuppie is that you will tell them something. You will, if you see me, you'll be like, you're not a scholar. You're not, you didn't even finish high school. You'll say all these things to me, but then again, I can tell you things if you're willing to hear, if you have ears to hear. I'm not professing to be anyone wise, just that I'm not professing to think that I know anything really. All I really profess to know is Christ crucified. The message of the gospel. That's the most important news you could ever hear. And I'm proud to carry that message. But if you start even touching on real issues when you're a Christian, people question you because of the common yuppie nowadays doesn't study. So what he does, and this is the progressive ideology that comes from like the early 1900s, that you are not qualified to think for yourself. Even Michelle Obama said this the other day. She's like, Americans, you can't take care of yourselves. Like, you can't take care of yourselves, period. You need us. Kind of creepy. But in a way, she's kind of right, because it's been the conditioned, how we're conditioned nowadays is it is kind of true. We are dependent on so many things nowadays that it's not even funny. But I lost my thread because I went off onto Michelle Obama. But anyways, oh yeah, if you touch on any real issues with anyone, they have to go and they have to get advice from somebody in a lab coat, and that makes me realize that people are so domesticated to not be free thinkers. You have the ability to cognitively think about decisions that you make. When you see something and observe something, like someone choking, you can help that person. If you know the Heimlich maneuver, you can help them from dying. And that makes a gigantic difference. That's called cognitive thinking. You see a problem, you find a solution, and then you apply that solution, and you do it with composure. Because, well, if you're trained, you'll do it very well. But we have a society of people who are so domesticated to think they can't think for themselves and have these big issue discussions and topics where we could discuss these things and sort them through. We need to hear everything out of Bill Nye and Stephen Hawking, and that's the progressive liberal view, that you're too stupid to take care of yourself. Now, the way that we abort babies, the way that we look at ourselves as human beings is so degrading to society. It makes me think that from everything that I read in the Word of God, we are hardcore. With these ideologies, we are hardcore sinning against God by looking at ourselves in a way that is not honorable. Like, we're not smart. Like, you're gonna admit that to yourself. Like, I'm not like smart to the sense of the complete, definition of the word, I guess. I'm not the most informed. I'm ignorant about certain things, but that doesn't mean I'm not, that doesn't mean I can't do certain things, you know what I mean? Like, there's levels to everything, but if you don't accept the curriculum that they teach you nowadays, all they do is they peer pressure you into doing it. I was talking to my nephew today because he's going to high school, and I asked him if he wanted to go to like a religious school instead, and he was like, nah. And I was like, that's cool. You want to just go to a regular high school? I'm like, you better. I'm like, it's gonna be tough. Like I told him, it's gonna be tough, dude. You're a Christian, and nobody's gonna like you, my friend. And it's the truth, man. No one is gonna like you. You know what you get for being a good person in this world? You get crucified. But anyways, Granted, they may have missed it with Neanderthal, but really it's no biggie. Nothing much to see here, folks. Keep moving along. This on the heels of an even more stellar, literally, bombshell. Mere weeks ago, cosmologists discovered gravitational waves, miniature ripples in the fabric of space, which they traced to cosmic inflation theory, more regularly known as the Big Bang, that primeval eruption they insist birthed the universe approximately 14 billion years ago. USA Today has reported the cosmos underwent a fast and incomprehensibly massive growth spurt in its earliest infancy. That doesn't make sense. That just doesn't make sense. I'm not a scientist, but that just doesn't. How can it start speeding up once it's already been when? Or how can it slow down? That's just, I don't know. Resulting in these previously elusive, now recently detected space eddies. Alright, what exactly happened at the start of the universe has been unconfirmed until now. PBS.org's Rebecca Jacobson explains. With a radio telescope at the South Pole, scientists found the first directive evidence of the universe's rapid expansion immediately following the Big Bang, the first concrete evidence of gravitational waves. Whoa, back that up. While campaign corks are popping in observatories the world over, I guess I'll be the skunk at this stargazer's garden party. The universe's earliest shake and bake were unconfirmed until now. It's the first direct concrete evidence of the Big Bang. Pardon me, but for most of my 53 years, anytime I or my fellow skeptics hazarded the possibility the Big Bang Theory was at best a theory, I was scolded that the debate was long closed. The Big Bang is a fact. I'm God because I wear a lab coat, so the Big Bang is fact. You do it. Or you don't. It explains everything, period. So you can imagine then my perplexity upon reading about the skywatching community's jubilation that finally they had some Big Bang proof. So it really was only a theory after all, at least until this jackpot disclosure. Might I further inquire exactly what's been proven? That the elemental material stuff of the universe came into being instantaneously from essentially nothing to everything in a trillionth of a second? Sounds teasingly familiar to me. Truth be told, to everyone who's read the Hebrew Christian scriptures and bothered paying attention, that's been the rough understanding for millennia. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Genesis 1:1. And by the word the Lord by the word of the Lord the heavens were made, their starry hosts by the breath of his mouth, or by the breath of his mouth. Psalm 33:6. It also says in the Bible that the universe is always constantly expanding. You stretch out the heavens. A contemporary pulpiteer or two has put it a bit more washingly. Sure, I believe in the Big Bang. In the beginning God spoke, and bang, everything was created. Admittedly folksy, yet basically confirmed by what the telescope squinting sets stumbled across a few months back. Then along comes the latest in the ceaseless parade of apocalyptic or climate reports. Haranguing fossil fuel burning society. This one, mind you, an 800-page tome carrying that not inconsequential, cachet of White House approval. Problem is, it introduces yet another term for today's man-made environmental crisis, the global warming religion. It seems wasn't quite living up to its billing, so climate change briefly became the preferred term of art. But hold on, the weather wizards behind the Obama administration's assessment du jour are currently opting for climate disruption. Arguably then, our scientific priesthood has gotten a key element of Neanderthal temperament wrong. They're throwing a party over newly unearthed evidence supporting the colossally existential occurrence the Bible sketched out in page 1. Paragraph 1, several thousand years ago, they additionally appear unable to settle on specifically what's going on with the weather, making nailing down a title for it embarrassingly tricky. Something that I want to... How much time do I have here? Because I'm really running out of time. Time to reconsider, I'd say. Our habit of melting before every trendy pronouncement that appeals to conversation stopping scientific authority. Indeed, tomorrow's academic revelation might come wrapped in techno jargon and cite a sheaf of supporting studies. That's no reason to go all weak-kneed in our critical thinking. Everybody goes toward relativism. If they just want to avoid their conscience and avoid knowing the truth because they don't want to address their conscience, They will go totally illogical, and they will totally, I mean, what? It's the age of relativity. Nobody listens to Albert Einstein anymore. That he said that ethics or relativity does not apply to ethics, but physics only. And nobody thinks that anymore. It's like, oh well, truth evolves, just like how I evolved from a flying spaghetti monster, because that's what I choose to believe. You can't tell me what I want to believe. All right. I know that there's a book here that's like 1,000,000,000 years. No, I'm just kidding. The Bible's super old though. It's not 1,000,000,000 years old, but it's thousands of years old. I know it's been there, and with that people wrote it, people who are, paying attention. But hey, I'll believe what I want. A handful of other recent egg-on-your-face scientific assertions. Ethanol is the answer, except many of the corn-based fuels, formerly dewy-eyed enthusiasts are admitting meaningful second thoughts about its usefulness. Saturated fats linked to heart disease, unless they're not, and cutting-edge scholarship indicates as much. Native New England monster fish extinct. Then again, the 7-foot Atlantic sturgeon, washed up days ago on the Connecticut River's bank, might have sunk that conclusion. A gay gene determines homosexuality. Too bad for this propaganda. The Vanguard research doesn't sustain it. None of this should actually surprise any of us, not if we remember scientists, scholars, still human beings. They're helpful, certainly, but not complete with their biases, blind spots, and brokenness as well. Brokenness is a good key issue in all of us. Columnist Charlie Reese, paraphrasing 16th century essayist Montaigne, once wrote, "No matter how high the stack of credentials, the expert still spits on his arse." You can believe that. It's science. And even secular scientists that don't believe in God even say that they don't know everything, and that they always realize that they're wrong about everything. I mean, the circular reasoning that they use, it's like Kent Hovind said it the best. It's stupid to even think that you can get truth out of circular reasoning. It's stupid to admit you're wrong and to keep going in circles, and that's how you find truth. There's no real way for them to find out. The Bible is the source of all truth. And the main issue with the Bible is that there is a place called hell that God is trying to save you from going to. We can talk about science, we can talk about all this stuff, but you should care about your soul. Would you sell your eyeballs to me for $1 million? How much more does your soul, how much more do you value that? All your thoughts, your dreams, your passions. That's you. That's who you are. That's who God made you. But going back to how scientists could say, I'm just gonna end it with this because I think that this is a gigantic thing going on right now. It's unraveling right now. But when you see all these earthquakes and all these things going on in the earth, it's God trying to tell you to look up, to say, hey man, you know what I mean? It's not gonna get any more obvious, I don't think, before it's too late. But there are sinkholes going on everywhere. There are earthquakes every day, and they might be actually directly connected to each other. And there actually have been these boom sounds that I have actually heard. I wish I had them recorded, but I have heard boom sounds out here in the high desert. And there's people that have been hearing trumpet sounds coming out of the middle of the earth, bouncing off of the atmosphere, hitting the ground, but they get loud. And all these things are connected to the same thing. There's something going on in the core of the earth. I don't know what it is, but there has to be further research for us to know what's really going on the earth right now. But this is a sign of the times. We've got the blood moons. We got the increasing earthquakes, It seems like I know somebody with cancer every day now. Somebody has cancer every day now. And it's just a sign of how, people like Alex Jones that have been warning us about the GMO in our food, the fluoride in our water. All of this stuff is we're starting to see the fruit of people who don't want to take warning seriously, because you're going to start having, mutations coming around, diseases, people dying too early in their lives. Let's just open your eyes, you guys. We're evil. So is, we're evil. That's the reason why it happens. But there's hope in all of this. The way the Bible describes it is that this life isn't even worth comparing to the one that we have in Jesus Christ. But with that, I'm going to leave you alone. And I hope you guys have a great Mother's Day. Go tell your mom you love them. I don't care if your mom was a witch growing up. Tell her you love her. Show her love. All right? God bless you and have a good Mother's Day.